Wow, you guys really went all in on this divided America thing. Huh? I mean, articles, opinion pieces, even some serious research papers.
So what to impair?
So it looks like you really want to go deep on this. And I think it's safe to say this is going to be a deep dive.
It's wrong.
I'm going to figure out what's really going on. Like, is America really as divided as everyone says?
Right.
Or is it just all hype?
Well, and not just what the divisions are, but why they exist. Yeah, and what it all means for us, just regular folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, to live our life.
Yeah, because like one of the articles we got says like right out of the gate, the United States is grappling with deep division. No messing around. Nope. It just goes right into it.
It was straight to the point.
No list like all the hot button issues, the usual suspects.
Rex, like
Immigration, healthcare, climate change, gun control, systemic inequality.
And it's a laundry list.
Yeah, it's like everything is up for debate these days and everybody's just at each other's throat.
Okay. These aren't just like disagreements anymore, but it's like you said, battle lines.
Yeah.
And actually, some of the research she said points to a study, that found political polarization has like skyrocketed really in recent years. Like it's gotten so bad that it's even like messing with people's personal relationships.
Oh, wow.
Families, even entire communities. It is. It's like we've forgotten how to disagree yet without like completely writing each other down.
Yeah. Not loud, like you're either with me or against me. There are no in between.
There's no nuance.
Okay, so how did we get to this point?
What?
I mean, the obvious answer is politics, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the elephant in the room or in Donaghy, depending on who you have.
Right?
But yeah, I mean, it really feels like everything these days is viewed through this partisan lens.
Yeah, and like with every election.
Oh, tell me about it.
It just gets worse.
It's like the two party. It's just digging deeper.
And
there's less and less room for like compromise.
Yeah.
Or even just talking to each other.
Civil discourse.
Yeah, exactly.
We've lost the ability to just have a normal conversation about politics.
Totally. And it's not just the politician,
Right.
Trickling down to us, to everyday people.
Like regular people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then you add social media into the mix.
Oh, yeah.
Which one article actually called it like a weapon of mass division.
Ooh.
Which, I don't know, it sounds a little dramatic, but a little bit. I don't think it's that far off, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Social media is built not to keep you scrolling, keep you clicking. Yeah. And that often means showing you more of what you already agree with. Right. So you're constantly surrounded by people who are like, yes, preach. I agree with everything you say. You're people. Exactly. And anything that challenges your viewpoint, poof, it's gone.
The algorithm has spoken. The algorithm knows best. The problem is it creates this illusion,
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody thinks the way you do, and that just makes the divisions even deeper.
So it's like this echo chamber effect.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got this super partisan political scene, which is being made worse by social media, but the articles also talk about economic and cultural anxiety.
Well,
So it's like not all about politics, right?
Now, it's definitely more complicated than that.
Can we talk about that a little bit, Sharon? Like what role does economics play in all this?
Well, one of the research papers you said actually goes deep on this thing called the urban-rural divide. And it talks about how people in rural areas often feel like they're getting left behind, economically and culturally. And it leads to this like resentment and distrust towards
city.
Yeah, big cities, urban centers. They see them as like elitist and out of touch with their everyday concerns.
Right. And then there's the whole economic inequality issue, which like some sources say it's like the root of all this division, right? And then other sources are like, no, it's more of a symptom. What do you think?
Well, I think it's definitely complicated, Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think economic inequality plays a big role. Like when people are struggling to make ends meet, right? They're more likely to fall for like fear mongering and like divisive rhetoric. Exactly. And there was this really powerful quote in one of their opinion pieces he sent from a factory worker in the Rust Belt.
Okay.
And he said something like, it feels like the American dream is slipping away and nobody in Washington even cares.
Oh, wow.
And like that feeling, that sense of being left behind and ignored,
Yeah.
I think that feels a lot of anger and resentment.
Yeah. No, for sure. And then there's this whole issue of like declining trust in institutions now, which all the sources pretty much agreed on that one. Yeah.
Smart. Yeah, that was a big theme.
Like people are losing faith in the government, the media, even science.
So,
So if we can't agree on what the problems are
uh-huh.
and we don't trust anybody to solve them, where does that leave us?
In a pretty tough spot, honestly. You know, it creates this kind of vacuum, this empty space where misinformation and conspiracy theories, Ilya, can just thrive. Yeah, because when people don't trust reliable sources of information,
Right.
they're going to look for it somewhere.
They're going to go somewhere else, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, often end up in these like, shadowy corners of the internet where the information is, well, let's just say it's questionable. No. And that just makes the problem even worse, It's harder to have a productive conversation when you're starting from completely different reality, right? So it's not a great situation.
So we've painted kind of a bleak picture here, but some of the sources did mention like calls for unity, trying to bridge the divide.
Anyway,
Is there any hope for that, or are we just stuck in this endless loop of yelling at each other?
I don't think we're doomed.
Oh, there.
Yeah, I really don't. I think there are signs that people are starting to realize, even people who disagree on pretty much everything, that this level of division just isn't sustainable. Yeah. Like, we can't keep going on like this, though, right? And there are actually a lot of initiatives popping up, really, all over the country. Interesting. They're focused on, like, fostering civil dialogue and trying to find some common ground.
That's great.
Yeah, it's encouraging.
So where do we go from here? Like what can we as individuals do to try to help bridge this